All right, Miss Akbar, we are now live. Hello, hello, and welcome everyone to our Wednesday Level Up conversation with the Akbars, Next Level Conversation Tea Time Talk.
Yes,
Today,
indeed.
guess what, Miss Akbar? I have coffee in my cup. I left my tea out there, so I'm gonna go with the coffee because I
I
got
got
water.
you. Wow.
And I got tea and water. I'm set. I got my body armor sports water to make sure I got my alkaline. I drink my tea afterwards. But I'm excited today. We're talking about fitness again. And with that, I have some really great questions because fitness is not just about that muscle. Let me see if I can show y'all my. What? Yeah, I ain't got yokes. Bam. But we also going to talk about fitness in some other areas. So, Miss Akbar, welcome to the show. Thank you for being my amazing co-host as always.
You're
And
more than welcome.
yeah, I'm going to open it up with how we're going to change the fitness of our families, right? Because
Yep.
I noticed so many people, especially during COVID, on a few extra pounds, trying to comfort themselves in regards of, everything going on, been eating out a lot, eating a lot of fast food and preparing meals at home, snacking on comfort food. And then now that everything is opening back up, the gyms are in full fledged, and even people have created workout gyms at home. Miss Akbar, I know you are a fitness buff. What are some of the ways that you're getting healthy and staying on top of your fitness, especially with such a busy schedule that you
I think with me, you asking me these fantastic questions. I really appreciate that, and I am so honored to be your co-host. So, before I answer that, I'd like to just make a toast to the most beautiful woman in the world, and I'm not just talking about her physical attributes. I'm talking about her spirit. I'm talking about her emotional self. I'm talking about her mind. I'm talking about the wonderment that I experience every day in the presence of my lovely wife, Miss Rachel Akbar. To you, my dear.
have. Thank you, sir. I received that. I receive it. And I feel the same about you. Just how being on this life journey has been truly an experience and amazing most times. And I'm just so grateful and honored to be your wife. So here's to you, sir.
Well, I'll take a little toast to that as well. But to get to that point, I believe, we should all care for our, and so in other words, if I don't care what I think and how I feel, then this is not going to matter much. You see, and that's why it's suspect that people who are out of physical conditioning, they're really out of mental and emotional conditioning. So what we encourage people to really get in touch with the spirit of who they are as a person, because this is just our temple. It's a reflection of how we really think and feel about ourselves. Because this is not me. You know, I'm not 192 pounds, of flesh, even though that's what housed me, right? I'm a calculation of ideas and visions. You see, I am the manifestation in this flesh of everything I represent here in mind and spirit. And so now, because I take care of myself physically, it's because I want to be able to move around as I would like to because of my spirit and my thoughts. You see, it would be difficult for me to express myself in the way that I do if I was disabled somehow and restricted to a bed. And so while I'm able to keep this temple in the best of shape, what I do, I feed myself correctly, dietary, I exercise correctly, you know, with my cardio. And so it's like it's a combination of everything that I think and feel about my life. Does that make any sense? What I'm saying? Am I still on track with responding to your question?
Yeah, you definitely are. Because individuals need to, oh, I don't know what's up with the feedback. Sorry.
But where does the harmony come from? It comes from the unification of mind, body, and spirit. You see, and if there's any disharmony with mind, body, and spirit, you find yourself out of balance with your life. And so the basics of realigning yourself is to bring that unity of mind, body, and spirit back in harmony. And then you experience life differently. Does that make sense?
It does. And so when you're talking about in harmony, they say, elevate the mind and the body will follow. So where do you start with your fitness in your mind? What does that entail? What does that look like?
Recognizing first that I don't know everything.
Mm.
And some of the things that I've learned serve me well. Being able to break free from just that. Because you asking me some amazing questions, Rachel. And so, about how do you navigate through those mazes, if you will? Because we get in old information and we carry it on with ownership as if it's good for us to promote it in some way. And do you know how difficult it is to have someone shake loose of a belief system?
Yes.
Even though it don't even serve them. So we're talking about fitness. Even though it doesn't fit, into the scheme of their goals and their aspirations, it doesn't fit. And we're talking about fitness. And we're talking about what doesn't fit. If it doesn't fit, then it should be reevaluated.
Mm-hmm.
You understand? Do you understand what I'm saying, Rachel?
I do.
Yeah. And so I just want to be clear with that. So what do you start? You start with identifying in your fitness what doesn't fit in the outcome that you desire. And then you start making adjustments. It sounds real simple, but when you get caught up in a belief, that got you locked into a paradigm that won't allow you, without a conscious effort, without deliberate intentions, it won't allow you to do anything different. That's sometimes to change because of that paradigm. You got to break that barrier. You got to break that barrier.
How do you do that?
Did I emphasize that point? You got to break that barrier. I was putting emphasis on there.
How do you do that? How do you acknowledge that or recognize when you need to do that?
Well, so just like me, I got plans on how I want to shape my temple. So I get up in the morning and I do a routine. You see, I do a routine every morning. Why? Because I'm trying to shape my temple in the way that I want it. I want to design me. I know if I don't do that, by default, I'm gonna be stuck with something that I didn't really appreciate. And so that's the reality. And so every day I wake up with deliberate intentions on shaping my temple. Now, as I do that now, I'm thinking about how I'm going to start my day. You see, this is just one portion of the beginning. How I start my day is after I get through with my morning routine. Now, you might think that's a part of my day, and it is, but not really. It's a prelude to where I'm going today. And if you don't have any plans deliberately set up about how you're going to structure your daily activity, you'll find yourself getting caught up in defaults. You see, circumstantial issues that you had nothing to do with. Your life don't have to be like that. You can be in absolute charge of how you want things to be designed. You're the architect. And so believing that you're the architect, then you can start diffusing or dissipating other beliefs that you may have had that's not in line with where you want to go. So once again, readjusting what doesn't fit into your fitness exercise or routine. That makes sense?
Yeah, it makes very good sense. Now, do you want to shift and ask me a question, or you want me to continue?
I want to ask you, Miss Rachel, about what is your concept truly about fitness?
Fitness to me is feeling good and being able to maneuver through life, whether that's through your mind or just, let me share with you. I was very livid when my thighs was rubbing together when I would walk. I know I was way too cute for that, but it let me know that I was packing on some extra pounds, that I know that my frame, see, individuals need to know their frame. So if I was back with my what's my Ray Charles, you know, when he say he used to put his hand around a woman's wrist. If she had a little dainty wrist, he knew that she was beautiful. Well, I have a little dainty wrist. However, I was wanted to blow, and what I was doing was not healthy as far as not being fit as possible, not taking care of my outer body, you know, and I know that that had a lot to do with my internal mental state as well. Because what I'm learning now, and the reason why I've been able to let go of so much weight in the last couple of months, is because I'm actually eating smaller portions, and I'm only eating until I'm not hungry anymore. Not until I'm full, but until I'm not hungry anymore. And for me, that's usually only a few bites. And it's amazing how just fulfilling a void, like eating a couple pieces of watermelon, or, you know, having a few cherries, or maybe cheese and crackers when you're talking about small meals in between, that's been very filling for me and fulfilling for me. So now I'm not overeating, overindulging. I think this big thing for me is just to be careful on how much I'm consuming. And that's with everything, you know, so that goes right back to the mind, because whatever is in my mind, whatever I'm meditating on, whatever I'm thinking about, whatever I'm processing the most, my body is going to be a reflection of. So that's been very helpful for me, just to be mindful of, am I really hungry? Do I really need this piece of cake? Do I need to eat all of the stuff on my food? On my plate. I was so grateful when I learned that I don't have to eat everything on my plate. You know, it is okay to go ahead and throw something out if I feel like I've had enough. So that was very instrumental as well in helping me to design the type of body that I want to see when I look in the mirror.
Great answer, Rachel. Listen, but I want to know from you, what are some negative ideas that became your belief associated with your ability to transform yourself or move yourself where you want to be?
Wow. That's a great question. So let me share with you that because now a lot of women are enhancing their breasts, enhancing their buttocks, you know, getting fat taken out their back. And I get it. Women want to look their best. They want to be at their best. A lot of people getting what's called the mommy makeover. And you know what? If that's what you need to do in order to be at your best and to feel like now you can be a productive member of society, I don't take anything away from anyone. But what I had to do was not fall victim to feeling like there was something wrong with me or something that I need or have to be doing to my body because this became a fad. So, you know, I had considered some of those things, but really after I started letting it and shedding some of the weight and really cleansing my body with my magic pills and my Do You Know How to Live health drink mix, my body looks good just the way it is, you know, and I'm grateful about that. So I did know that I needed to do a little more toning, you know, toning up my arms, legs, and getting to the physical state that I really want to be in, because I want to be strong. I don't want to be weak, you know. And so guess what? It takes some effort on my part. I have to actually do the work. I can't just lose weight and think that that's enough. Just cleanse myself internally and think that's enough. No, got to do a little bit of body workout to create that muscle mass I desire.
That's great. That's great. It's interesting how what I was asking you about some of the ideas that we grew up with, that has a negative connotation, and aging is one of them.
Mm.
You see, so just like maturing, as we mature in life, you see, we put a lot of emphasis on the physical maturation. Did I say that right?
Yeah,
Maturation.
to
Yeah.
mature. Yeah.
Now, so as we mature physically, we put much more emphasis on that. But we're just thinking about the maturing of the mind, maturing of the spirit, and what we refer to that as is experience and wisdom.
Mm-hmm.
And so we want to highlight that on one end, but we don't have that same reverence for the maturing of the body.
Mm.
You see, so when we get a little gray, we don't respect that maturing of the body. And
Uh-oh, you froze. So I'm hoping you can recap what you just.
does that make sense?
Yeah, but you kind of froze. You said when we gray, we don't respect the maturing of the body, and then you froze.
Okay, so let me say it again then. Yeah, so we don't respect that level of maturity when it comes to our physical aspect. That's why, sometimes people want to do something to alter their body, because the concept about how it's maturing is not given the same type of reverence, that we give to our spirit and our mind.
Mm.
So we mature mentally, because of our life experience, and we want to offer some advice to the younger generation.
Mm-hmm.
But then at the same time, we want to hide our gray.
Mm.
I mean, where did those ideas come from? How did we get gripped, in that type of thought process now, where it's not comfortable for us to be able to show our gray as we espousing our wisdom to the younger generation. And I'm gonna tell you what saddened me. I seen a gentleman that I know is in my age category. I'm 66. And I don't quite understand why the youngsters have their pants down.
Mm.
But I thought it was reprehensible when I saw this gentleman with his pants down. And he seemed like a respectable, ordinary, normal type of an adult. Until I noticed, I said, well, now what happened? What happened in this maturing process for him now to regress? And to thinking I mean, we all go through fads. We all had it. We had what, when I was bell bottoms and form shoes. We had elder folks that didn't understand that. So I guess the fad that these youngsters are in right now, is having their pants down. I don't understand what that's about. But just thinking about somebody in my age group, because I never remember when I was coming up and seniors used to say about bell bottoms and platform shoes. I rarely saw my mama try to do that. I rarely saw somebody's parent trying to do that, wearing platforms. It just, at the time, it wasn't a part of the environmental makeup. You see, so they let the children go through their fad and respected it to some degree with comments. I don't know what's going on today. As we mature, as we are more involved with fitness. How does that fit? I don't know.
Well, you know what I would like to say, and as you were talking, I was thinking too. I remember in the early 70s, 80s, not so much early 70s, I was still quite young, but early 80s, being skinny was the fad at that time. The thinnest you can get, the better. And then I was thinking about now it's the fluffier you can get, the better. The bigger your butt and everything, the better. So, what I want to say and encourage everyone is get to your level and just make sure that you're taking care of your fitness in regards to yourself, your health, the way you would want to see yourself, not the way you think someone else would want to see you. So for me, like I mentioned earlier in the broadcast, is I wasn't happy when my thighs was rubbing together. That was very uncomfortable for me. And it was very unattractive for me as well. So that wasn't because somebody said, oh, your thighs are rubbing together. It was because of how it made me feel. I didn't like that. So I immediately started getting into a regimen that would help me to shed the fat in those areas and to remove these poisons and toxins that I know was weighing me down and also stressing me out mentally because I wasn't happy with how I looked physically. And ultimately affected my spirit because if you look good, you feel good, then your spirit is uplifted and then you can help uplift somebody else. But Mr. Akbar, I want to shift a little bit too. And talking about fitness, I want to talk a little bit about financial fitness because I understand and know too that when you're preoccupied with thinking about, hey, I got more month than money, how am I going to make these things work? How am I going to pay these bills, pay my expenses, also have enough money to fill and fund my dreams? Then that can be also a drain on your fitness. Because if you're struggling and stressed out with financial um, struggles, then how you're not thinking about working out, you're not eating right, you're not thinking about any of that. So you did a little small video on TikTok yesterday or the day before talking about conditioning, the way the mind is conditioned, and a lot of the conditioned thinking comes from uh, traditional America, um, just society at large on how you should think, how you should plan, how you should prepare. Society doesn't engage you and prepare you to become a business owner. When we're young and we're going to school, they tell you go to school, get an education to go get a job. They don't say go to school, get an education so you can become an entrepreneur, so you can become a business owner, so you can fund your dreams. It's always geared to helping the industry to get wealthy, to help the industry fulfill their dreams. But what about your dreams? What about your goals, your desires, your passion? So when I'm talking about fitness, I'm talking about fitness in the area of total protection, protection on my life, protection on my money, protection of my assets. But you know what? My life has to come first. I want to make sure that I'm putting and planning the most in that area because guess what? If something happens to me, nothing else matters. The bill's not going to get paid. None of those things are going to matter. I'm not going to care about that beautiful car that I drive. I'm not going to think about those wonderful trips. I'm not going to be thinking about the money in the bank. I'm not going to be thinking about any of that. So that's why it has to start from the core. It has to start from within, that health, that mental health, that spiritual health, that emotional wellness that we need to get to as well. But I want to let you expound a little bit on what I just said, Mr.
So yeah, that's interesting question there. Could talk forever about that. When it comes to finance and the effect that it has on society, and then with the misinformation that society has been growing on, living on, being nurtured by, if you will, if you want to call it being nurtured, with this information that somehow puts us on the other side of the relationship with the thing that we work so hard for, money.
Mm-hmm.
You see? And so, I mean, it should be celebrated in a way where it's a resource that can provide provisions to the multitudes.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the reality. And then on the other hand, without it, what do you have? You have sickness, you have poverty, crime, a host of other poverty-like activity, result of lack. Now, think about it. In the richest country in the world, I mean, the separation from the haves and the have-not is so vast. I mean, it's like the separation from the haves and the have-nots. I mean, it's diametrically opposed. It's polar opposites. And so, what does that mean? That means that somebody is having a calm life, and someone is experiencing uh, a destructive life, if you will. I mean, a deteriorating. You see, and it's not getting better, so it's deteriorating. And you know, lack of finance. What it causes? It causes families to break up. Lack of finance is what it causes. It causes strokes because of stress, and when you don't have the finance that you're working around the clock to get, and you still are not getting it, what's missing? Well, I think what's missing is those basic rules of how money is governed. It's just three simple rules. It's not 300, it's not 30. It's three simple rules on how you grow your money, how you accumulate money, how you protect your money, and how you withdraw your money, distribute your money tax free. It's just those three rules. And if you knew those three rules, then your money, I remember a guy that I used to work with. He had two jobs, and he used to feel proud to say to most of us that he got 2 months of checks stacked up in his drawer. And then he said, I got 6 months of checks stacked up in my drawer. And I used to tell him, I said, there's a limit on those checks. You got to cash them at a certain period. Some of them are 90 days. I say, so you better review that. And so anyway, and now as I know more about how money works, I was thinking, wow, he thought that was something to be proud of, when in fact the value of his money was decreasing because he didn't have it somewhere working for him increasing. And the thing that I know, as I've learned, small business owners generally don't even have a retirement plan for them. And just think about that. They work, they're running their business sometimes from morning to night. And it allows them to pay their bills and give them some other benefits, maybe. Some small business owners are just working their business as a means of income to pay their bills and just trying to stay ahead of the next bill. But if anything catastrophic happened, it's done. Their business is concluded. And they don't even have time to think about now the plan that they should have had in place. So when they do are no longer able to run their business, then they got an account set up that will take care of them.
Yeah.
You know how many small business owners that I have encountered as a result of the work that I do now that don't have anything set up?
Yeah, plenty of them. Because
that's why I am so encouraged to keep myself fit enough psychologically, spiritually, and physically, where I can be in the presence of those that need our help, need this information.
Yeah. Yeah, I want to thank you, Mr. Akbar. This has been a very interesting conversation. And I know we're talking about fitness. And then guess what? We're talking about being fit in every area of your life and how important. Mr. Akbar, really quick, when I was talking about the conditioning of the mind, how we are conditioned now to work more hours. If you get overtime on your job, that's something to be grateful about. It actually puts you in a higher tax bracket and you're paying more taxes, and you're really not bringing home what you thought you would be bringing home from working more hours. Where did this mindset come from where individuals feel like they have to work and continue working throughout the 60s and 70s? Oh, I want to work as long as I can. Why would you want to do that when you can set yourself up in a way that you can retire in your early 50s and have endless income, have lifetime income, where now you can spend more money more time working on your fitness, spend more time working on your mental capacity, mental health, building your dreams, growing your passion, helping others do the same. To me, that conditioned mindset with thinking that you have to get 2 and 3 jobs in order to live and survive and strive to outpace inflation is just that conditioned thinking, opposed to let me work smarter and not harder. Remember when that was a slogan that used to go on in the late 90s? Let me learn how to work smarter and not harder. Somehow, some way, we've gotten away from that, and now we think in order to achieve our goals, we need to have more than one job.
Yeah, that's an interesting question. I tell you what I think when you were talking about it is it has a lot to do with one's self-worth and value. Because just in my personal life, I remember way back when, I'm 66, so I can say way back when, I was offered overtime. I thought it was because somebody thought I was important.
Yeah.
And so, and then I got tied into that other concept. A hardworking man is truly a man. How did that go? When a man works hard, somehow it's tied into how he's a man, that kind of stuff. But anyway, it's just a part of the conditioning that we came up with, believing that and not knowing the real reason behind why wealthy people stay wealthy. Those three basic rules of money that we know nothing about. And so, all of this misinformation, bad information is what it is, that keep us locked into a situation that in the end of it all, if we're not really careful, we're going to have to downsize our lifestyle.
Yeah, that's sad. I've seen it happen so many times. Well, you know what, Mr. Akbar, we've come to the end of our broadcast for today. We could go on and talk about this, but it's been 30 minutes. I definitely want to say to everyone to make sure that you're fit in all areas of your life. Sit down and write down some things about yourself and your life that you may want to do some adjusting. And then actually ask yourself, where can I give myself more of my time back? How can I give myself more of my time back so I'm able to focus on the things that matter to me the most? And that's the rearing of my children, the taking care of my physical, emotional, and spiritual well-being. And yes, of course, increasing my finance. Meet me and Mr. Akbar. I'm going to post my YouTube channel on Facebook. And please, once you've seen these recordings, give us some feedback. Let us know some of the topics you want to talk about, under the faith, family, finance, fitness, and fun, because we definitely are here just to support you all with additional information and to help ourselves grow as well. So for me and you, Mr. Akbar, we just want to say, thank you so much. We'll see you next time on Next Level Conversation, Lunchtime Tea Talk, Level Up with the Akbars. And our topic will be
Fun.
Fun.
We're going to have fun into all the other attributes of the 5 F's. Peace and blessings. Peace and blessings.
Thank you so much. Have a wonderful day.
I shall.
Peace.